So the plan was to make sausage rolls, but what I ended up with were these minced lamb pockets, which actually were just so much better than sausage rolls. We just couldn't stop eating these at home. They were the perfect balance of meat to spice with a subtle hint of sweet, encased in a golden crispy pastry. Hi everyone, I'm Aru from Arubakes, and this is how I made these lamb pockets. We need some finely chopped onion, garlic, rosemary, and some cubed up red bell peppers. And of course we need the minced lamb and some store-bought puff pastry. I always use store-bought pastry, you guys, because let's face it, life is just too short to be making pastry at home. Get a pan heating on a medium heat until it's very hot. We aren't adding any oil to this because lamb naturally has loads of fat and oil in it. Once your pot is nice and hot, add in the minced lamb and let it cook without stirring for about 4 minutes, just until the meat starts to caramelize a little. And then give it a stir, break up the lamb and get it cooking. As the meat starts to brown, go in with your chopped onion and garlic. Season this with a good pinch of salt, some chili powder and some chili flakes. Stir this so that it's mixed through and let it cook until the onion starts to soften up. Reduce the heat to low at this point and then go in with your cubed red bell peppers, the fresh rosemary and 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard. If you don't have fresh rosemary, dried will work just fine. Stir this and let it cook for a few minutes on low. Taste the lamb mixture at this point and adjust for seasoning. It's always better to season food as you go rather than being very heavy-handed at the start. Because if you over-salt it or over-season it, it's a little bit harder to salvage it. Plus, this way you build up flavor in layers. Now I'm adding a dash of sweet chili sauce to this just to balance out the flavors. It helps cut through the fattiness of the meat and the spice from those chilies. Stir this through and you're done. Spoon this into a bowl and leave it aside to cool. While that's cooling, preheat your oven to 180 Celsius and start rolling out the puff pastry. Flour your work surface, just a tiny sprinkling of flour just to stop the pastry from sticking. Pop the thawed pastry on top of the flour and then sprinkle a little bit more flour on top of the pastry and start rolling this out. Roll it out from the middle towards the ends. Keep turning the dough 45 degrees so that you get an even roll and it helps you keep that squarish shape. Actually, what we want is this to be more of a rectangular shape. Now, while I'm rolling out this puff pastry, can I please get you to hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss out on any of these easy recipes that I make. Now, I'm eyeballing this, but once you get the pastry to about 12 by 10 inch size, just trim the edges so that you have a fairly straight rectangle. Save the scraps. Give it one last roll to make sure it's nice and even in thickness across the length and the breadth. And then spoon the lamb filling in the middle along the length of the pastry, almost to form a log of filling. The reason we let the filling cool down first is that if we add hot filling to the pastry, it will start to melt the butter that's in between the layers of pastry. And what you'll end up with is a flat pastry that the butter is leaking out of as you bake it. Try to spoon the filling a little bit more evenly than I did. Mine was a little bit heavier in the middle than in the edges. Brush on a bit of beaten egg on one side of the pastry along the edge and then fold the other side over. Press it with your palms so that the filling is nice and compact and then press the 2 flaps of pastry together to seal it. Use a fork and press it down to further seal everything together and then trim off the extra bits. You can collect all the scraps and freeze it, and then when you collect enough, you can just knead it all together and make a rough puff for your next baking. Cut the pastry log into equal sized pieces. I'm doing about 1.5 inches in width and getting about 8 lamb pockets from this log. This step is optional, but I'm just scoring the pastry so that it looks prettier as it bakes up. Pop these lamb pockets onto a lined baking tray, but leave a gap in between each of them because they will expand as they bake. And then brush on more of that egg wash on top of each pastry. This is what helps you get that beautiful golden color as your pastry bakes up. And then pop this into the preheated oven and bake for about 20 to 25 minutes until your pastry has risen and it's golden on top. And that's it. Beautiful golden homemade lamb pockets that are so easy to make. You can even make a large batch of these and freeze them before you bake it and then bake them up whenever you want a delicious snack at home. The pastry is super crispy, the filling inside is crazy delicious. You get a bit of spice, a bit of sweetness coming through, and the mustard adds a very subtle tang to this. And I can guarantee you when you try these lamb pockets, you will be going back for more. Try this out at home and let me know what you think. Bye!